No, I think, just walking up here, I was thinking, how it really doesn't matter who you're playing or where you're playing, how this whole process is about your own team and your own guys. I think back in the summer, I kind of thought about this game, and, man, that's pretty neat, taking a team back to Pittsburgh, where you're from, where you grew up. But, when you get to the game, these are your guys here, and this is where I am now, and this is what we do. It all comes back to just finding a way to get your guys better. And I'm sure Paul Christ would say the same thing. They come off the Florida State loss. It really doesn't matter if they're playing New Mexico or they're playing Notre Dame this week. It's about finding a way to get their guys to play better and to win. And that's kind of how I look at going into this game and really what we're doing here. I've just been so impressed with our coaches and with our players of being realistic of who we are and what we need to do to get better. I think yesterday was a great example of that, coming in. Of course, the coaches were in all day Sunday, but we give the players Sunday off, and then we watch the tape. And, just extremely critical of our performance. And it really it wasn't a whole lot different than it was the week before as far as just the atmosphere. Obviously, it's a lot better to win. But I guess the point I'm making, it's just about trying to play better the next week. And everybody taking ownership and, what can we do to make our players play better? Is it schematic things that we tweak? Is it techniques that we continue to work on? How we practice? How we maintain the kind of attitude we have? All those things, So, we're going back to Pittsburgh. That's a big challenge. This will be obviously the most talented team we've played on both sides of the football. Defensively, they've got the two real big, stout inside defensive tackles that always cause you problems. On offense, they've got excellent receivers and big, tall receivers. I can't ever remember 3 games back-to-back like these 3 that we've played such big receivers. That's something that we've seen. UTSA, they were big, good-looking guys, and UTEP, those were big, tall receivers, and Pittsburgh is that same kind of team. Good receivers. They've got a very veteran quarterback. It's the second week in a row we've played a quarterback that's transferred from another place, that's eligible, that's graduated, I guess. So it's a big challenge, going back playing an ACC team. But yet it's exciting, to go play in a pro stadium, get a chance to go play back in a different part of the country. But it's even more exciting just because it's the next game and we have a chance to continue to grow. And that's how I look at it. I don't know if we've ever, it's kind of a unique schedule. You play UTSA, it's the first game of the year. Obviously, we know we had a much younger team than UTSA, but it was our first game, it was their first game. Then we play another first game against UTEP. We went in, I think they gave us something like 25 different formations. They knew exactly what they were going to do on offense and had practiced exactly what they were going to do, and we didn't know. And now this is a week where you're playing a team that opened up on a Monday night and has had 2 weeks to prepare for you. It's a unique challenge, particularly with a young team. But the only challenge I worry about is, can we coach good enough to get our guys better? And can we get them to continue to improve? And that's what we do this for. So, Dylan Farrell will be out. Bratton will start at center. Calvin McDowney, Jamal Price at guard, so we have a little more size in there, which is a good thing. The quarterback situation, Cole will practice today, non-contact. If there's no setbacks, he'll play on Saturday. I would anticipate that Clayton Mitchum would be the starter Saturday in the game, because Cole's not going to practice today full speed. He's going to practice some. He may practice a little bit tomorrow, but I anticipate Clayton Mitchum will start. I think Cole will play if there's no setbacks. Other than that, we've got a lot of young players that are pushing older players. There's no question that Nick DeVonzo at nose guard is pushing Ja'Cory Greer. Dakota Cox, our Mike linebacker, is going to split time with Toby Ball. Dakota Cox is definitely pressing Toby Ball right now. Donnie White, our freshman outside linebacker, will play in this game, number 54. The two freshman corners, I.B. Brown, Jaden Boatwright, are both pushing, as well as William Uday. William Uday, defensive lineman, is going to be a good player, and he's pushing Fatu right now. We get Patron Hightower back. He didn't play last week, had an illness before the game. So, the next phase of this, as we push to get better, the reality is there's some young players pushing older players, and that can be a very healthy situation, and that's what it's going to be. Other than that, you guys, any questions?
Can you overuse Casey? Was it 41 carries, or is it just?
He is a unique player in that, we've all heard that old thing of sometimes a guy, the more you give him the ball, the better he plays. I think Casey is an example of that. I mean, you see when he gets into a rhythm, he gets a real good feel for things. He carried it 41 times. It's hard to give him more than that. So I don't know if we could overuse him any more than we used him Saturday night.
No, I'm asking, is it a danger to give him 41 carries? Would you like to see him?
Well, put it this way. I don't think UTEP I think UTEP probably wishes we wouldn't have given it to him 41 times. I think they'd have probably liked to have seen a few more guys in there. I don't know. It's week to week. It's snap to snap. And when he's going good, we're going good. We do have some quality depth behind him. I think this is kind of neat, like the guys from back east on our team. Just thinking of something else, Crusoe Gongbei just came to mind. That those guys get a chance to get back and play in Pittsburgh. That Washington, D.C., Baltimore area is 3 hours away. I've got great respect for those players. The Calvin McDowney, Jamal Price, Crusoe Gongbei, Devonta Tabana's overcome some things still in the program. He's going to start on kickoff coverage. He starts in nickel. Javari Johnson's an outside linebacker that starts for us from back there. Certainly Nick DeVonzo's from back there. This is a great chance for those kids to get back close to home. And, I'm very appreciative of those guys. They have been outstanding for us.
Bob, obviously, Florida State really burned to the pass, but they defended the run fairly well. How would you assess their run defense?
Stout. They have 97, 91, and 50 in there. And 97 is really good. He's going to be a high NFL pick. I believe his name's Aaron Daniel. They're stout and strong and active. They're your worst nightmare. That's what's caused us problems. I'm sure they understand that and realize that. But I think in the same token, it's a great challenge for us again. They're stout. They're really stout up in there against the run, no question.
Coach, when you talk about slowing them down at the receiver position, how tough that's going to be?
Tough. They have an All-American player, number 15. They've got a freshman, number 23, that looks like he's going to be outstanding. Both those guys. The number 15, he's probably 6'4". 23 is probably 6'3". They've got a tight end / receiver, number 82, that's very athletic, that transferred from Wisconsin. They're big and they're tall. I anticipate they'll throw the ball down the field on us. We haven't really been tested that much early in the season. There's been many really deep passes thrown on us. There's been a few. I think they're going to be a run the ball, throw it a long way down the field kind of team. And it's a big challenge for us, But I'm kind of anxious to watch Saquon get challenged, Cranston Jones, the two young freshmen at corner, and our safeties. I'm kind of anxious to see if we can respond. Because you look at our conference, I went back last week, I think I won't go through all the stats, but Fresno threw it 73 times. Wyoming threw it 60-some times. I go right down the list. It's coming where people are going to throw the ball 45, 50, 55 times a game on us. That part of our schedule is coming. So I think it's a good challenge for us to go up there and play against some quality players.
Any concern about
You know what? We're going to do some things a little different. In fact, I haven't even told our team. Not that it's, you guys know when the ball's kicked off, none of it really matters. But just to cover our bases, I think Thursday morning, we'll probably meet in the morning, bring our players over here early before classes, get our meetings out of the way. So that means they get up early Thursday morning. We'll practice right at 2:30 on Thursday, get them out of here at 5 instead of 7. A little more rest time. Then Friday morning, we're going to get up early here and meet, get on the plane and go to Pittsburgh. So we're getting up Thursday, Friday, Saturday early, just to try to get kids up and get them out of bed and get them moving around. I think it's going to be a fairly cool day. It's supposed to get hot the next couple of days and then storm, because that's always a factor. I was telling Rick yesterday, my next to last year at Notre Dame, Texas A&M came in and opened up with us in South Bend. And R.C. Slocum will still tell you today that's the hottest day he's ever coached in. And it was in South Bend, Indiana, not College Station, Texas, or Baton Rouge or Gainesville. You get some heat and humidity back there, big time. So I think we're going to be fortunate that it's going to be a pretty cool day. It's a 12:30 kickoff, which is 10:30 back here. There's not much we can do about it. And maybe it's a good change to get out there and play and get the game on instead of sitting around those hotel rooms all day.
Coach Clayton got his first start. What you see out of him, and looking forward, any expectations with him, anything change for him?
Yeah, I think a week ago we stood here and said, who knows? Because so much is based on the intangibles at that position. I think you'd have to say the intangibles were pretty good. If you were over there on the sidelines, got a little cockiness to him, has a little competitiveness to him. I liked it. I liked the way he handled himself. I really did. I think the players responded to him well. He's a quiet, as I said last week, kind of country personality, but he's got a little fire to him when the game starts. I was really excited with him. I was really pleased with him. I think you look forward to him throwing it a little bit more. You felt like, hey, I want to see this guy drop back and throw it, which is a good thing. So I think it's good. I think the first step, pretty darn good.
2 games in, what do you think of Brett Bowers' performance?
It's helped us. We brought 2 guys in, Brett Bowers and David Guthrie, that have really helped our defense. First of all, just from a love to play the game attitude. Second of all, you can't help but, as a teammate, respond to guys like Guthrie and Bowers. I mean, they will flat throw their body in there and give it up. Brett Bowers is probably 270 pounds, but he's strong. He's the strongest player on our team, which is quite a statement for a junior college player coming in. So he has been a big, big addition to our football team. He's added some girth in there, but more he's added the attitude piece of it.
Exposure-wise, Coach, what does this do for the program?
Depends how we play. It could be good news, bad news. I think just the chance to get to go play in Pittsburgh, play in different parts of the country, I think it's, first of all, great exposure for our players. I mean, that's fun, to get a chance to go do something like this and play in a stadium that you've seen on television a lot, to play in a city atmosphere. I think it's great. I think it's a great opportunity for our kids just to have the exposure to different kind of things. If we go play well, it's an opportunity for us to show that we're gaining credibility here. It's a good situation. We wouldn't have done it. I think it makes sense for us to go play. Paul Krebs, our athletic director, is from Youngstown, right outside of there, and I think it's a pretty neat game.
Coach, last week we talked about it being uncomfortable to get younger guys into the game. You did it a little bit more this week. How did that go? How did they
Yeah, as I said, I think that was we have to do that. We're face it, this program is still 2-3 years away from everything being on the results of the game. Even though I live and die, our players live and die, we all live and die on what happens on that scoreboard. In reality, what happens 2 or 3 years from now is more important than what happens this week on the scoreboard. That's just where we are building this. So we're not very smart if we're afraid to put young players in that can lead us to that. So, excuse me, I think it went really well. A lot of those guys went in. Nick DeVonzo was in there in the last play of the game, last couple plays of the game. William Uday probably gave us more punch in there when he was in the game than any other player we had in there. You know, Dakota Cox went in and said and proved that, you know what, I can be a starting linebacker here the rest of the season. So it's been very good. It's been very good, and I think you'll see a few more offensive players get out there this week as well. You know, so I think it's a healthy situation. We got some good young players, I think.
What about? Go ahead.
What's the timetable for Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan has the MRI at his knee. He's got a little MCL stretch, I guess you would call it. The ACL looks good. We're hoping UNLV.
Are you still sticking with Adams' field goals?
Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of direction to go. He's good. You know, it's a shame the one, you know, Saturday night. Anytime that ball's close like that and the ball's on the hash, that's such a pretty dramatic angle. And he actually overcompensated, and his left foot was out real wide, and he just pulled it left. Wasn't a hook, he just pulled it. You know, probably overcompensating. So yeah, he's our guy. He's a good kicker.
Coach's performance spoke volumes, but what did you see from Clayton on the sideline in his demeanor and his eyes when he had his uh-oh moment and had the fumble? How did he respond?
Yeah, I mean, he bounced back from getting his butt chewed. You know, he didn't tuck his tail, and he didn't, you know, make an excuse, and he didn't run and hide. You know, he coughed that ball up on a first down situation. Took a good hit, but he coughed the ball up, and he didn't back away. It wasn't like you got on him and he cowered down or he looked like he wanted to run and hide. You know, he's a competitive guy. You know, he's won a lot of games at the junior college level. He had a good demeanor to him the whole game. Yeah.
You mentioned at the start that, you know, you try not to think about going to Pitt and that sort of thing. It's about your team, but isn't there a part of you that looks at the totality that, you know, it's almost like your career coming full circle back to where you grew up, started your coaching?
Yeah, a little bit of that. You know, I've had a chance, you know, that's where it all started. I mean, I told these guys yesterday, I mean, it's 1977. I'm a senior at Youngstown State, right, and graduate in December. And the next thing I do, I'm a graduate assistant at the University of Pittsburgh in January. They have just won the national championship. Tony Dorsett, Heisman Trophy winner. Johnny Majors goes to Tennessee. I go from Youngstown State to I'm a GA at Pitt who just won the national championship. You move it forward just to that spring. 3 months later, this is when graduate assistants could recruit. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, recruiting for Pitt. I don't even know how to rent a car. I mean, I'm out there literally. Jackie Sherrill sends me out recruiting to Boston. I don't even know how to rent a car. Like, I don't know how to, like, check into the hotel and all this. I mean, literally. So I go from Youngstown State to that. I get thrown right into that. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's the defensive coordinator. You know, I could just go right down the line. I mean, just have the opportunity to do that. And then, you know, to go through the coaching ranks, I leave, I go to Arizona the next year. I come back to Pitt as a full-time coach, 80, 81, 82. And then to bring a team back there. You know, to be a head coach at Notre Dame and bring a team back to Pittsburgh and do that. And then to go broadcast games there. You know, I came back to Pittsburgh. I broadcast the Pitt Notre Dame game as an announcer. I broadcast the Pitt A&M game, Texas A&M game, as a broadcaster. And now to come back at the University of New Mexico. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, coming in there and being at Notre Dame and bringing that team in there feels no different. Absolutely zero difference to me of coming in there and bringing New Mexico in there. It is the exact same process and the exact same feeling. But you're right. You know, it's a you know, you don't do it, but if you sit and reflect on it, you think how lucky you are. Just how lucky you are to get a chance to do 3 different things coming into that stadium. 4 things, really, at different stages in your life. You know, we're fortunate to get to do this. Fortunate to have this opportunity right here. You know, so it's pretty neat.
Coach, when you go
Now, up to my dad, I talked to my dad last night. Hadn't talked to him in a week. Of course, the first thing he asked me about is the 30 tickets. The second thing is he says, I see your 21-point underdogs. What's that all about? He has no idea. Well, you know, it's New Mexico. We're coming back. It's a BCS school. We're rebuilding this program. He's worried about one thing. What's this 21-point underdog? And what am I going to tell all my guys here about this game? So it's, you know, it all comes back to trying to play as good as you can play.
Do you go downtown and get the sandwiches at Spumoni?
Let me tell you something. I won't step 1 foot outside of that hotel or one step out. You know, from that standpoint, we could be playing this game in Fairbanks, Alaska. I mean, that's what coaches do, and that's what you do. So,